divides things. It's a natural consequence of mental vision to position ourselves in certain things and see other things in relation. To see in a kind of a single glance everything. Krishna has to give a special eye to Arjuna, which is a yogic eye, and the eye of yoga above the mind. And Arjuna can hardly contain it. He's saying at the end of it, this is wonderful,
this is
but
too
it
much
is too
for him.
much for me.
Yeah.
Please come back to your more universal form with 4 arms and things like that. So I think what I take away from what you said and from my approach to sustainability is that we have to build these layers of integration.
Absolutely.
And that is the need at the psychological level. It's not just an ecological problem.
No.
We can't solve it by engineering at the ecological level. Individuals have to make this attempt in their own consciousness. To some extent, we have to become what is called Renaissance men again. You know, and it's an interesting inversion.
Create polymaths.
But also we need to aim for something beyond that, which is this image of the rhizomatic, the image of the Vishwarupa in the Gita, which is beyond us, but which we hold as an ideal. And if we move towards that ideal, just as the tree is an image, we can attempt the lower steps.
Absolutely.
But we need to keep that as a possibility.
Absolutely.
That will reveal itself to us. Even if we take these steps, we are opening ourselves to that revelation. And that is perhaps one of the objectives of a movement towards sustainability.
And that's the paradigm of the future. Of the future humankind.
The future humankind, which can really only, I think that is the real invitation of the problem of sustainability.
In fact, Professor Banerji, the entire pedagogy of education as a global or a local policy in different institutes, from MIT at Cambridge to IIT at Kharagpur, we need to have a 3-step approach to that. I'll just give a humble addition to what you beautifully delineated on the landscape. The fragmented level is a requirement, because if we don't have fragmentation, if we don't have conflict, there is no need of conflict resolution.
Integration.
Absolutely. But the fragmented level is dialectics. That's what Marx and others have talked about. But above the dialectics, where two different situations are in conflict to each other.
Superposition.
Exactly. You create a dialogue between the two. So from dialectical, it becomes dialogical. It becomes dialogical. So what happens? The proletariat, who is not doing well with the bourgeois, actually they become friends. So the rich people is no more a threat to the poor. He has that extra money which can be used by the poor on a cooperative basis. So competition at a fragmented level becomes cooperation. And that is the beginning of integration. And that is just not ecological, it is teleological. It is a change, as Swami Vivekananda said, it is just not a being that we are looking up in the clouds, but it's how we become that being step by step. That's Sri Aurobindo's, very deep, the hierarchies of minds, going, and it's just not a question of 4 classes on that. It's a lifelong sadhana. It's a lifelong sadhana, going step by step by step. But at a very simple level, there is one person who has really portrayed that for a common man like me and many others. Our students and everything, which is Abraham Maslow. So he has taken the whole thing on a outer world and he has portrayed that as a hierarchy of needs. So he takes things at a very low level of subsistence, sort of food, shelter. Then he goes to security, and then he goes to love and belonging. And finally, there is an emergence of the self-esteem of the universe. And where Maslow ends, that's the beginning of the Gita. So my self-esteem is not my self-esteem. My self is the self of the universe. And the self of the universe is the self beyond. So in the words of Sri Aurobindo, the self vibrates as an individual self, as an universal self, and as a self beyond.
Self.
And then he gives the beautiful thesis of the supramental, where the 3 cells become 1 in 3 and 3 in 1.
Yes, this is the third level that you're talking about.
And here the master,
Right.
Sri Aurobindo, becomes brilliant.
Yes.
He gives the world a situation, he gives the world a suggestion, and I think he gives the solution for the future humanity through which education, application, whether it's planning, economic planning, physical planning, regional planning, development planning, gets the tools and techniques and the ways and the means to navigate through the dialectics and reach the levels of dialogues.
Right.
And there's a feedback. And this, I think I'll close here. And we come to a very important line which has been mentioned by Fritjof Capra in his bestseller Tao Physics. So he says the answers to all these different things comes in a very important line of knowledge, which is cybernetics, which is a combination of mathematical, numbers and progression, but it also looks at flow. Where it goes, it's going
flow form.
Flow from some origin, absolutely to
flow form.
But flow is also not the last thing. The last thing is philosophy of life. So we should have I think sometimes you're talking about the aim of life. So we need to have so the schools and the institutions and the colleges, what are they? They're simply to format the students and bring out the aim, which is otherwise hidden or latent or lost in the kindergarten. So I think the moment a child knows what he or she is going to do, even in a very small way, it makes a lot of sense. And then life is just not a fragmented, moving away in a dissipated, scattered matrix of uncertainty, but there is a whole purpose of this evolution of the microcosm, of the individual, and that purpose is also embedded in the vast, the macrocosm, and the two are like mirroring each other. Mirroring each other, and the more we know about the mirror, which is also described in Sufism, the Shish Mahal, the Arshi Nagar of Lalan and many other poets. So, the vast mirror is reflecting the small mirror. So, in the chandelier, there's only one light. But you have thousands of glass particles, and you see 1,000 lights. But each glass particle is holding the reflection of that one light. So there's a total internal reflection. So the beauty is that there's only one light in the chandelier, but in vision we see 1,000 lights.
True.
So one contains 1,000 and the 1,000 contains the one.
It comes to the Flagard and Sutra
I think
also.
This third level, that what you ended with, I would like to just draw one kind of thing that you started with, which is the kind of multiplicity, the fragments, etc., why they are important. Not only are they important because of dialectics and the dialogics, but they're important in themselves because each one of them is the whole. You see, it is not only that they're reflecting the whole, they are the whole.
They are containing the seed.
They're containing the seed of in each, everything else is contained. And it's a unique presentation of that whole.
And this is what Swamiji says, every soul is potentially divine. So the whole thing is to make it kinetic.
Correct.
And bring out the potential as a full-blown
and established kinetic meaning in time. And it's really a play. A leela.
Leela. Achid Vilas.
Achid Vilas.
Achid Vilas. So that is, so all the schools of spirituality, whether it's that of Sri Ramakrishna or Paramahansa Yogananda, or Swami Bhuktananda, including the words of Christ. Christ has talked about, I am in the Father and the Father is in me and you are in me. So he's talking about these recursions, the recursive reflections, and he's saying that I have put the seed, and we just had Christmas yesterday, so it's wonderful to sort of close with Jesus. So his words are almost like the words of the Indian rishis and the Upanishads. So he's like one of the rishis of India, and that is the beauty of a country. Wherever you come from, every religion, every thought movement has a place here. Why? Because it has the whole network of all the truth as one truth. As one truth. It has been such a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.